Hey story lovers. If you're into mystery, suspense, and unexpected twists, you're in the right place. Hit subscribe, relax, and let's dive into today's story. Aiden had always been the kind of man who believed in logic, not love. Growing up in foster care, moving between cities and strangers, he learned to depend only on himself. Love, to him, was a word people used before leaving. But then, he met Elena. She wasn't loud or dramatic. She had a quiet energy, like late autumn mornings or handwritten letters. Aiden first saw her at a bookstore, her hands gliding over the spine of a poetry book as if she could feel the words inside. She glanced up, their eyes met, and something unexplainable stirred inside him. For the first time, he didn't feel like a stranger in a crowded world. Their conversations began casually, about books, coffee, late-night music playlists. But every word she said opened a door inside him. With Elena, silence didn't feel empty. It felt safe. He started looking forward to her messages more than meetings at work. She had a way of making ordinary things feel magical. A walk in the park. Rainy afternoons. Sharing fries from a food truck. She'd look at him like he mattered, not for his achievements or his past, but just for being. And Aiden, who had never trusted anyone with his heart, found himself doing just that. It wasn't just that she made him laugh. It was the way she listened. How she noticed when he was pretending to be okay. How she didn't try to fix him, she simply stayed. He didn't say, "I love you," immediately. He was terrified of it. But she made him feel it long before the words ever came out. Every time she tucked her hair behind her ear nervously when she was excited, every time she fell asleep with her head on his chest while they watched old movies, he knew. He was falling for her. One night, under the stars, she asked him, "What scares you the most?" He paused before whispering, "That the one person I finally trust might walk away." She leaned in, kissed his forehead, and whispered, "Then I'll just have to prove you wrong." That night, Aiden believed her. He started imagining a future with her, something he had never done with anyone. A small apartment with a bookshelf they'd fill together. Lazy Sunday mornings making pancakes. Maybe even a dog. For the first time, love didn't feel like a risk. It felt like coming home. But what he didn't know was, Elena was never planning to stay. She had a secret buried deep behind her smile, one she wasn't ready to share. And while Aiden built dreams, she built walls inside her heart, knowing every day with him was one day closer to the goodbye she couldn't bring herself to say. But for now, they held hands like nothing could break them. They laughed like tomorrow didn't matter. And Aiden, for once, believed that maybe, just maybe, love had finally chosen him. Days turned into weeks, and Aiden and Elena's love grew like a quiet flame, warm but intense. Yet, amid the laughter and stolen moments, Aiden noticed a change. It wasn't anything obvious, no fights, no harsh words. But there was a shadow behind Elena's eyes, like a secret kept too heavy to share. She smiled when they met, but sometimes she seemed lost, staring out the window as if waiting for something, or someone. Aiden's heart ached at these moments, but every time he asked if she was okay, Elena would just shake her head softly and say, "I'm fine." Her phone buzzed often, and she guarded it like it was a treasure she couldn't risk losing. Sometimes, she'd answer quickly and whisper hurried words, her eyes flickering with worry. Aiden felt invisible walls forming between them, walls he couldn't climb. One evening, as the city lights flickered around them, Aiden caught Elena staring at her phone again. He reached out and gently took it from her hands. She didn't protest. Instead, tears welled up, and for the first time, she looked vulnerable, fragile. "Please, talk to me," Aiden whispered, his voice breaking. "You don't have to carry this alone." Elena swallowed hard and looked down. "I'm scared," she said, voice trembling. "There are things from my past, things I thought I left behind, but they're still here." Aiden squeezed her hand. "Whatever it is, I'm here." But Elena's silence stretched on for days after that. The space between them grew colder, even when they were close. She would disappear for hours, sometimes days, and when she returned, she acted like nothing had happened. Yet, Aiden could see the pain in her eyes, a pain she refused to share. One afternoon, Aiden found her sitting alone in their favorite park, her face pale. He sat beside her silently, waiting for her to speak. After a long pause, Elena finally whispered, "There's something I need to tell you, but I don't know how." Aiden nodded, urging her gently. "Try me." Tears spilled as she revealed the truth, a truth that shattered the world they had built. Elena was running from a past that could destroy them both. A dangerous secret that threatened to pull her away forever. As she spoke, Aiden's heart broke not because of the secret itself, but because she had carried it alone for so long. She loved him deeply, but fear kept her from trusting him fully. He realized then that love wasn't just about being together in the good times, it was about holding on, even when the storm threatened to tear you apart. That night, Aiden lay awake, wrestling with pain and hope. He didn't know what the future held, but he knew one thing for certain: he wasn't giving up on Elena. No matter how dark the silence behind her eyes, he would be her light. But fate had other plans. The night Elena disappeared was like a storm breaking over a quiet sea, sudden, violent, and utterly shattering. It started as an ordinary evening. Aiden had planned a small dinner at his apartment to celebrate their 3-month anniversary. Candles flickered softly on the table, and Elena wore the kind of smile that made his heart ache with love. They talked about dreams, music, and the future as if time would never run out. But as the night deepened, Elena grew restless. Her laughter faded, and she kept glancing at the clock, biting her lip nervously. When Aiden reached out to hold her hand, she pulled away like a ghost slipping through his fingers. "I need some air," she whispered, standing abruptly. Aiden's heart tightened. "Elena, what's wrong? Please talk to me." She shook her head, eyes glassy. "I can't. I'm sorry, Aiden. I have to go." Before he could stop her, she grabbed her coat and slipped out into the rainy night. Minutes turned into hours. Aiden paced his apartment, calling her number again and again, but each time it went to voicemail. Panic crept in, clawing at his chest. The next day was worse. Elena was nowhere to be found. He called her friends, checked hospitals, even reported her missing to the police. But every search felt like chasing shadows. Days passed, then weeks. His world shrank to the empty space she left behind. The bed they shared felt colder, the silence louder. His friends tried to comfort him, but no words could reach the hole in his heart. Aiden replayed their last night over and over, the way she avoided his touch, the sadness in her eyes, the sudden goodbye without explanation. He wondered if he had missed signs, if love alone wasn't enough to save them. And then came the rumors. Whispers that Elena had a past darker than he knew. Stories of a man from her past threatening her safety, secrets she couldn't outrun. The truth was buried beneath layers of fear and silence, and Aiden was left holding only questions. He kept her favorite book, a collection of poems, close by, hoping she might return. Each page reminded him of her smile, the love they shared, and the goodbye she never gave. In the depths of his loneliness, he promised himself he would find her. Not just to bring her back, but to understand why she left without a word. Because sometimes, love isn't enough. And some goodbyes are never said. Weeks had passed since Elena vanished into the night, leaving Aiden with an emptiness that swallowed every breath. Days blurred together as he searched tirelessly, holding on to hope like a lifeline. But deep down, he feared the truth he hadn't yet discovered. One rainy afternoon, Aiden returned to Elena's apartment, her place, the one she had left behind in a hurry. The walls felt cold and hollow without her presence. As he wandered through the rooms, his eyes caught a small, worn envelope tucked inside a drawer of her old desk. His heart skipped. The envelope was sealed with a simple wax stamp, her initials delicately carved. His hands trembled as he broke the seal and unfolded the letter inside. "Elena," he whispered. The words spilled onto the paper like fragments of her soul, raw and vulnerable. She wrote about the shadows she had tried to escape, the fear that had held her captive for years, and the weight of secrets that she thought would destroy them both. She apologized, deeply and endlessly, for leaving without saying goodbye, for hurting the man who loved her like no one else had. She explained that she didn't run from love but from a danger she couldn't share, a threat to both their lives if she stayed. Elena's words were a confession and a farewell, written in tears and hope. She begged Aiden to forgive her and to remember the love they shared, a love pure and true, even if it was short-lived. As Aiden read the final lines, tears streamed down his face. The letter was not just an explanation, it was a piece of her heart she had left behind, the one thing she hoped would reach him when she couldn't. He folded the letter slowly, holding it close. It was too late to bring her back, but it was not too late to carry her memory, the love that never died. Aiden realized that sometimes love means letting go, trusting that the person you love will carry you in their heart, even from afar. And with that bittersweet truth, he found the strength to move forward, forever changed by the love he lost but would never forget. Time moved on, but Aiden's heart stayed frozen in that moment, the moment Elena left without saying goodbye, leaving behind only memories and that letter. Days turned into months. The city around him buzzed with life, but inside, he lived in a quiet world where her laughter still echoed. He tried to move forward, to fill the void, but nothing ever replaced the love that had rooted itself deep in his soul. Yet, in the silence of his loneliness, something beautiful grew, a love that transcended distance, pain, and goodbye. Aiden began writing. Not about his pain, but about Elena, her kindness, her strength, her quiet courage to face the darkness alone. Every word was a tribute, a way to keep her alive in his heart and in the hearts of others. He shared their story online, not for sympathy, but to remind people that love is sometimes messy, sometimes heartbreaking, but always worth it. Surprisingly, thousands connected to his words. People from around the world reached out, sharing their own stories of lost love and hope. Aiden realized that his pain was a thread weaving them all together, a reminder that love never truly leaves us. One evening, as he sat by the window, the letter Elena wrote resting on the desk, he felt her presence, not as a ghost, but as a part of himself. A love that once felt like home had become a light guiding him through the darkest nights. He knew she was out there somewhere, living her own story, carrying a piece of his heart. And though they were apart, the love they shared remained, timeless, unbreakable. Because true love isn't always about holding on. Sometimes, it's about learning to carry someone in your soul, even when they have to walk away. Aiden smiled softly, closing his eyes. He loved her like no one did, and that love would never leave.